Come this way. Ethel is waiting. Lord, there's a vault out there, but it was shut years ago and the entrance hidden. I'll help you, unless I could. She is our most revered scientist and elder. She knows this vault, but now the Picets have her, and our rescue attempts failed. She's lost to us, and you.
Yeah, that's probably because he's a fuckboy. Yeah, how much battery we got left in this? So the next thing I decided to do was write the events leading up to the story, up to where the story takes place. Because like the protagonist is trying to unravel all these things that have happened. Obviously I need to know what it is that happened in the past that the protagonist is trying to unravel. So I started to write like basically almost like a small timeline of the events that happened up before, and then in that I decided, well, because obviously there's references to all the characters and I haven't actually created any characters yet, I decided to just make like a small, just like a really short list of just like the characters and just a brief description of them and who they are, and give them names. Start giving the characters some names. And I've actually, like, to be honest, I've actually written out a list of all the things that happened, but then like all these new ideas came to me like since then, and honestly I think I've come up with something better, and so I'm actually just going to go back and redo it. I don't really feel like that time writing that first list of events is kind of like a waste, you know, because without doing that I wouldn't have come up with the new idea. So whenever you're like writing something and then you come up with this idea and then you think like, oh, but I've just come up with a better idea and I've thought of this and that I can add to it. No, basically I'll just scrap that whole idea. Don't feel like that's wasted. Never feel like if you've done that it's wasted, because you remember that by doing that is what led you to where you are, to maybe the ideas that you just thought of. So don't think that you've like wasted, that time is wasted. So I'm going to revise that small timeline and then come up with something cool. So, and I have started to, I decided I wanted to start doing some fuck!
Oh, there's no need to get ratty.
So I'm now 3 or 4 days ahead from my last talk, where I had someone revving the shit out of their car right outside my window. And so I've done what I said. I've gone back and changed the events leading up to the story, still using the same ingredients as what was there, only I, you know, just changed them around and made it into something what I believe is a lot more interesting. And I wanted to create interesting interactions between the characters that the protagonist can discover on his journey throughout the story. And in the process of that, I did some character backstories to help me kind of just flesh out the storyline. There was a few characters that I needed to go a little bit more in depth with them, and I just needed to know who they were and what they were doing. Although I haven't created full profiles at this point. I have not created full profiles for them yet. It's just notes for myself, just a brief backstory of where they came from. And I realised a thought that came to me in the whilst I was doing this and fitting all these pieces together is that really, when you're putting a more complex storyline together like I am at the moment, that all the different pieces, all the different elements in the story, the characters and the storyline and where it's going and where the characters are going, is putting those together and planning how they're going to work really is an exercise in strategy and logic. It's almost like a game of chess, that you have your piece on the chessboard, a piece on the chessboard, and you have to almost project into the future, you know, what's going to happen if I move this piece here or that way. How is, and in the story, you know, if I make the character do this, how is that going to affect other people? How are the other people going to react? So it really is an exercise in strategy and logic. It's just an interesting thought that came to me at the time when doing it. Also, whilst I was in the process of all of this, I have done a bit of character concept art, just a bit of art. Yes, if you didn't know, I do my own art on the previous book that I wrote, Civilise. I did all the artwork inside and I designed the cover, which I intend to do again on this book, which I always find quite fun. Just, you know, just helps me to visualise the characters more, kind of just see who they are. And I may have decided on a name for the book, but I haven't fully. I think I've decided, but I'm not going to set that in concrete yet, so